Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the North East Non-League Show, Northern League special at night. Just want to say before we start, a proud sponsor of Beer Watch TV. Whitley Beers proudly sponsor us now with our North East shows, which you're over the moon with. And hopefully, it'll be. I've seen the preview we are in the programme at Whitley Beer at the weekend as well. So, a massive thank you for Darren for sorting that out for us as well. And joining myself tonight, we have Ashton coach Neil Cooper. Neil, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for asking us to come on.
And very busy. I know you've just been out with the lads coaching, is that right?
Yeah, we've just finished training. Sort of like finished about 7:30ish. Managed to get the chairman to put the floodlights on for the last 20 minutes. So
it'll cost you if you don't win at the weekend.
Yeah, that's it. So, not too happy with it, but it was good. Yeah, very good.
Excellent. Just before we kind of get on to some of the results and the news from the Northern League, just getting on to yourself, obviously. Great for you to come on tonight. I mean, just starting with your role at the club, Ashton, what's your kind of involvement there, and how long have you been involved with Ashton now?
Well, I've been there. It's coming up to a year now. Basically, sort of like first team coach, which is basically obviously in skin as a manager, and people who know him, he's very much hands on. You know, he's a coach himself, obviously. So it's basically helping him out, putting on sessions, giving the lads like a different voice. Rather than listen to the same voice all the time. So when it comes to a Thursday session like tonight, it is a lot. He does a lot of it tonight. Tuesday we try to share it, and give variations of sort of what we want, how we want the lads to play over the weekend, stuff like that. So it's working fine at the minute. Yeah, very good.
Really good. I mean, like you said, when we had the show on Sunday, I was kind of saying that you're coming on. I think the thing that stands out for myself is just kind of your love for the club, and there's things that you share on Facebook and you just really want to push it out. I mean, where did your love for non-league football come from?
To be fair, mine's fairly recent. You know, my background basically has been wasn't really football as such. Even though I love football, I didn't play football at any level. I was into athletics, running from up with Harrier, stuff like that, and got into it in normal ways, coaching parents, stuff like that. You know, for my son, and then just worked my way through. And it's just been the last few years, you know, getting in. I got into Whitley Bay in the reserves with the Alliance with Mark Nash, and just saw the different side of non-league football. Obviously, I've been to games. I went to watch Ashton, you know, Blythe Spartans and their cup runs, stuff like that. And now I just find it a lot more exciting than going to St James's sometimes. Obviously, at the minute it's different, but you know, just fell in love with it that way. And to be fair, I prefer this side of it now. I prefer the Northern League rather than going to the big games.
No, it is. It's really good. I mean, I know we're going to touch on the draw in a moment for the FA Cup, but I mean, Saturday gone. I think that's just fairy tales, isn't it? I mean, 2-1 win against Bradford Park Avenue. I mean, just going into the game and obviously the feeling. I know I've seen things like on Facebook and stuff on this non-league stuff where they're complaining about the goals that they're disallowed and it was going against them. But what a feeling just to get the next round of the draw, isn't it?
I don't think you can actually. I couldn't believe it. To be fair, like the feeling after the game, it's just unbelievable. You know, like, you know, yes, you do. You know, you talk to the lads, you tell them that you do believe in it. You do, you know, this and that. But for actually to come off, you know, playing against a team from, you know, 3 leagues above, were the whole thing about it. You know, the first goal, the own goal, you know, when we're getting at them and we had 20 minutes spell where we're really on top. And then to be fair for them, you know, they put one under a lot of pressure. But then Carl, the goalkeeper, never really made many saves. You know, he wasn't really called on that often. And yes, if you look at it, the offside goal, I'll say it's offside. But obviously they weren't happy with it. You know, 5 minutes ago, taking it back down there. But the feeling at the final whistle was unbelievable. And that you just got to mention the supporters, 700 in there.
It's amazing, isn't it?
You know, the drums beating, you know, they've got the 3 drums that's tied to the side of the stand and everything about it. Just the noise is unbelievable. It's just part of the club, and that's what makes the club so good. You know, the supporters as well.
No, it was amazing. I think it wasn't too long kind of after the full-time whistle, and obviously they put a Facebook thing on to say that they've won and we're going to look forward to the next draw. And straight away, if we're playing away, are we getting a bus on? How many buses are we getting on? And it was just like building that excitement already for the next round, which was fantastic. I mean, you get on to the next round as well. Stockbridge Park Steelers, you must be really looking forward to that game. I know it's away. I think it would have been better at home, but it's a nice away game, isn't it?
It would have been. It would have been. You know, what I first thought was anybody as long as we get a home draw. And then, you know, like, and it's like what I texted you the other day, you know, what I thought was, right, we want either someone big at home to get the money in or someone where we can have a chance. And honestly, you know, to get what we've got, Stockbridge, we're thinking, yeah, we've got a chance. You know, you go
definitely.
You've got to believe in yourselves and you've got to go down there. And already, I think coming out tonight, I think from what I've heard, there's 70 people signed up for a bus. You know, so there's two buses already going down, and that's a week and a half to go. So it's unbelievable, you know, thinking about it.
No, it's amazing. Steve just said apologies for missing tonight, but loving Neil's passion really shines through, and what a result in the cup on Saturday. A huge result. And I mean, just with the league as well, I mean, sitting in the top 10, you already played 6 games compared to a lot of teams on 10, 11. I mean, what's your aim in the league this season?
Well, we've got to say, I mean, the chairman's basically, he has put it down now. He does want to go up. So, you know, we've got to state yes, you know, straight away. Everyone, you know, as soon as you started signing the players that were coming in, everyone was, you know, getting texts, oh, you've got to be favourites, you've got to be favourites. And you're thinking, oh, God, you know, pressure's on. And to be fair for the chairman, you know, Brian, he's been great. He's, you know, everything that Ian's wanted. Because he, you know, like, yes, I'm in the background. Yes, I've done stuff. But Ian Skinner's done most of the work to get the players in. And, you know, the players that's come in have been absolutely fantastic. So to sit there now unbeaten, you know, 6 games, and we've got, you know, we're 4 or 5 games behind teams, but in the end of the day, we're unbeaten, and that's what
isn't it?
You can't ask for any more. You know, you just got to think about it now, and just, you know, we've got Penrith on Saturday away, so you've got to go across there believing in yourselves. You know, you need the 3 points. Yeah, and we can't really, you know, fall any further behind. Like, you know, Whitley Bay, whatnot at the top. We've got to stay up there with them.
Definitely. I mean, like, say, as a coach yourself, and you mentioned some of them players there. I mean, just the likes of like Lee Mason, Robbie Dale, Dan McGuire, Paul Robinson, Darren Luff. It's like, it's a good squad, and like experienced players, quality players, kind of playing. They can come as an individuals to spark the moment, but as a group, I mean, it must be kind of nice going to training and putting your methods across with having them type of players that'll take everything on board.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, say me, being from where I was, you know, you're a bit worried, you know, these players coming in. I've never dealt with these players before, but they've all been absolutely fantastic. I know they've all come in, and, you know, there's not one of them, you know, what you would say big time. They're all come in. The group's absolutely brilliant itself. You know, you've got the young lads who were there last year as well. You know, you've got Craig Spooners, you've got Danny, you know, Ben Sampson's, all them sort of players who are in and around the club, and they're as important as the big one, you know, the big names, and we need these players to stick with it. Obviously the squad's 20 players and only play 11 and name 16, and it's difficult, and everyone wants to play, but you know, we just need to manage it the best we can. And it's difficult, you know, because you've got good players who aren't even in the squad at times.
Yeah,
but you know, they've got to realise, well, this season will need everybody, but it's getting it across to them as well, because, you know, the young lads and they want to play. Basically, they just want to play football. You know.
No, that's it. I mean, lots of people watching at the minute, so thank you everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate it. So get your comments in if you want to as well, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. We just try to help push this Northern League as much as we can, and just getting on the FA Cup draw, 3rd round qualifying, which I think it's looking at it. I think it's about 5.6 thousand for the winners, and the losers 1.8. It's huge, really, isn't it, for Northern, like you say, like Northern League clubs and teams in the division above as well. It's a lot of amount of money for, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, again, I think you know, you look at it, it's 5.5 for this one. It's 9,004, I think, for the next round. You know, you're getting into big money for a club of this size. So again, the chairman's over the moon, hopefully, at the minute. So, got to keep him happy. But it's just, it can just help, you know, with what he wants. You know, you look at the ground now, you look at the way they've got the ground, you look at the pitch, you know, they look after the pitch well. The pitch is probably one of in the Northern League. The facilities are there, everything's there for it, you know, and it's just obviously trying to push on to that next level for them.
Definitely. I mean, just look at some of the draws that we've got: South Shields versus Marsk, Hyde versus Darlow, Chorley versus Blythe, and yourself versus Stockbridge. And I think looking at them, I would expect at least 2 or 3 teams. I mean, there's obviously one guarantee between South Shields and Marsk, but rest of them going through, isn't it? It's a quite a strong. And I think I was saying to Stephen on Sunday night, and I think obviously because it's split now, kind of divisional and obviously the regional. Sorry, I think if it was kind of mixed, you would see a lot more like teams from the Northern League and teams in the North East just getting on to the next round because of the quality that we have here, isn't it?
Yeah, I heard you say that, and you probably agree. You know, when you look at like what teams have done in the Vars the last few years, you know, the Northern League, like gone big distances. You know, you look at North Shields even last year getting the semi-final and stuff like that. Great achievement doing stuff like that. So yeah, I think if it wasn't regionalised and you mixed it, but then you've got to look at clubs. You know, the travel expense.
That's a big thing, isn't it?
It's so you probably wouldn't be able to do it as much, you know. I think that's the other side of it, the expense of it, getting the coaches on, because you can't expect players to drive to these places. You know, our last game down at 2.5 hours on the bus there and back, and you know it is difficult, you know, and you think players are working as well Saturdays. So you've got to sort of like, you know, sort of like level that out against each other.
I mean, looking at that, like, see if you can get a couple of them teams at the next round, it's almost touching distance, getting almost at the putt for the first round. Even if it's one of those where you get picked out, it could be this or that team versus the team in the first round. It'd be huge just to be unbeaten. I think that's always the best thing watching the FA Cup draw, isn't it? Earlier on.
The funny thing about that, you know, like, and it's like just sitting, and it's like skin on the manager, his son George, I think he's 10 or 11, and it was like started off, it was like, 7 games from Man City, 7 games from Man City. You know, you're down to about 4 or 5 here. You know, it's like, you know, 4 games ago, what was it? It was like 9 games from Man City. That was like the big joke, like, between them there. And now he's like, well, hold on, you've only got 5 games left to Man City. You know, listen, it's like, it just sounds, but just the thought, like, I mean, you know, this one is a winnable game, and then you're going at the last one, and you're winning touching distance of that first round. Is it possible? God, it's frightening to think.
Definitely. I mean, looking at it as well, I mean, even if you get kind of close to that first round as well, and if you're one of the lowest ranked team in there, the BBC could come up. It could be the draw in Ashton Clubhouse and stuff like that. It's amazing, isn't it? Really, that could be extra money as well for the club.
Well, that's it, because I think the next round, isn't it, the National League comes in. So, you know, you've got, you know, Gateshead comes into it. You know, even like, so you look at like the Wrexham and all that. You know, the crowds are
huge, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, that would just be ridiculous getting something. You know. So, but then, you know, we've just got to look to next Saturday, get that done, do the job, and then, you know, not dream past there. You just just look at what's ahead of us. Yeah. So, you know, ain't talk about it yet, but we've got to do the job next week first, and it's no good looking ahead of yourself. You've got to make sure that's done first.
No, really good. And getting on to some the Northern League results from Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday night, Division 1, Bishop Auckland 1, Northampton Town 1. Really good point for Northampton, actually, because, like I say, they're down at the bottom, and it's a really good point for them. I think Bishop Auckland were quite disappointed with the result in the end, weren't they?
I think so. Bishop being, you know, where they are, you know, put them top, didn't it, on by goal difference. So put them top. So I think they'll be disappointed on that. But the trouble is, and it's like every game in the Northern League, if you're slightly off it, you're going to get turned over. You know, and this is what you keep trying to tell the lads. You know, you've got to be on it. You've got to do your dirty work first. You know, yes, we want you know, our philosophy is you want to play football. You want to play football a certain way, but you're not. You know, you've got to earn the right to do it. So, you know, hence the one game that we did lose in the Vars. You know, that 6-4 game, and it could have finished. Honestly, it could have finished 10s each the way it was going. but we just didn't do the defensive side of the game very well. You know, we didn't do it at all, and we got what we deserved. You know, Billingham Town game turned over, and we just got what we deserved in the game. We can't take it away from how they played, and we were just poor defensively. So I think it goes through the whole league. You know,
it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
If you don't turn up on the day and you aren't prepared to press people, close people down, then you've got no chance. Not league.
And Newton Aycliffe 3, Gisborough 1 was the other, 3-0, in that division as well. Division 2, Bedlington 3, Chester Street United 0, Redcar 1, Prudder 2. And a couple of good results. Top of the table clash, Berkeley Town 3, Billingham 3, which made a cracking game. To watch that one. And Horden 3, Bolden 1. Again, Horden just picking up now, really starting to push as well. I mean, I know we're going to get on the kind of early runners for the league titles in Division 1 and Division 2 later, but Berkeley Town, Horden, obviously, and Billingham, 3 strong sides up in Division 2, pushing on, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, say Berkeley, they're managed by, a good management team there. You've got a really good management team there. But to be fair, and I suppose I'm a bit biased as well, would be next. It's good to see Bedlington up there. They've had a really good, strong start. Andy Ferguson's doing a good job in there. I was in there for 3 years coaching, and it was, money wise, it wasn't, it was difficult. You were sort of like fighting against this and that. And I know it's a different chairman as well now, so hopefully, get it sorted and get the club back up to that first division where they should be. But that is a hard league to get out of. I mean, I still think it's just the top one goes up and then the next are in the playoff.
It's hard, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like you've got no leeway. You've got to win it, or you're in a playoff, and the playoffs just for anybody.
Anyone's luck, isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
100%. And Wednesday night as well, a couple of Division 2 games. Debenham, Synthonia 1, Blythetown 3, Jarrow 1, Sullen West End 0, and Wrighton 3, Chesney Street Town 2 as well. Some other good cracking games as well.
Yeah.
Just a bit of news on as well on that. Just kind of 2 things that came up this week. Obviously, Willerton deducted 3 points, fined £100 for playing an individual player. Now sitting obviously on 1 point, bottom of Division 2. You see 40 plus players signed on now. I mean, I know they've had no luck as well. I know there was 4 players in a warm-up a couple of games ago. Goalkeepers playing right back and all over. It's going to be kind of a tough job now to turn that around, especially with the point deduction and kind of sitting where they are at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's difficult when you're looking at it, and as well when you see them both, because Newcastle University, just above them, but you can see them. They tend to struggle at the beginning, and then once obviously the term times stick in and they get the players in, they'll probably just improve. So it is difficult once you're down there. Like if you're looking around for points, you're looking around for anything that happens, and the trouble is, you normally find that, like you say, how can you compensate for four injuries in a row? Everything just seems to go against you, and it is difficult for them. But you've just got to keep plugging away and keep turning out, and just keep hoping, just keep doing the right things at the right time, and hopefully it will come good for them.
Definitely. And the other point is like Chester Street Town. I think it's been, I know when it was announced on kind of the Northern League page and stuff like that, it was kind of an ongoing joke with the floodlights that people were saying. But obviously after the Saturday game, all games we played, just around the corner for myself actually, the Ford Hub with Sullen West End. So at least I've got 2 sides to go down and watch now if Newcastle's playing away. So that's handy. So there'll always be a game on at least one Saturday. But it's a kind of an ongoing situation with the floodlights, I've heard, isn't it, down there?
Yeah, I think it is. It's again, it just comes out of finances, isn't it?
Isn't it?
We had, again, going back to Bedlington last year, we had a lot of trouble. The chairman put the wrong bulbs in, from what we heard at the start of the season.
Right.
We were having loads of trouble with it. People complaining about how bright the floodlights were, or they weren't, especially in the bottom corner towards the clubhouse. You couldn't see from the dugout. You could hardly see across the pitch at times.
Right.
It was really bad. So, but again, it's all down to finance. It's hard for teams, especially down there. You've got to sort of like get that money in and then spend it in the right areas, and hoping that you're doing the right things at the right time. And it's, sometimes you're not, and it's difficult.
It isn't. I mean, what do you think? If a lot of people mention about possibly bringing the kickoffs to 1 o'clock for a lot of the teams that are struggling with finance, do you think that could be an idea going into the winter?
Well, it could. Traditionally it's 3 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
And to be fair, it is part of the criteria going into Northern League. You've got to have your ground. You have to have a stand. You have to have floodlights. So it's part of the criteria that they know before they go into the Northern League. So if you're going for that level, you've got to be able to, I suppose, afford it. It might sound harsh, but you've got to have it. Like you go into the Alliance, and it is a half 2 kickoff, 2 o'clock kickoff, because that's not the criteria.
Yeah.
You don't need to have floodlights. I know some teams have them, but you don't need to have them. So to be fair, you know what you need before you go into it. So I'm one of them where no, you've got to have the finances in place. You've got to have everything right, and you should be doing it the right way.
Definitely, yeah. A lot of people said that. Like you said, they've had plenty of notice and stuff to get things sorted. They've got to be on the ball, don't you?
Yeah, you have to be. It is harsh. It is very hard. But then that's it's a hard league to be in. It's really hard. So I know what you're saying about it could help teams and stuff like that. But maybe it's for 1 or 2 weeks, but not for the whole season. Now, you've got to be on the ball and you've got to have things right.
Definitely. And getting on to the title chase now, I know it's quite early on in the season, but about 10, 11 games being played now in the league, starting with Division 1, and just picking out some teams kind of from the results over the last few weeks, and obviously the 3 teams that I've kind of picked out at the moment. There's a few more, such like Newton Aycliffe, teams like that, but I think the 3 that's kind of on at the moment is obviously yourselves. I know you've only played the 6 games, but with that squad that you've got there, and like you say, it just seems to be the whole kind of setup at the moment. Like you say, the players, yourself, the coaches, the management, and just the fans is wanting to push that club on. And you've seen, and I think it helps now with that next division above the Northern League where that wasn't there before. That's a good step, because I said we had Bobby Moore on last week. In 2 or 3 years, it's going to be full of Northern League sides, isn't it?
It's funny, yeah. I mean, see, again, I did hear when you were on about it, and it is funny. We had this conversation last year because we hit a point last year with 7 games to go, and obviously you had Shields and Conte at the top. I think it was Northampton away we're at, and if we'd won that game, we were going to go top.
Right.
Yeah, they would have games in hand, but we lost that game, and then from there, I think we got 1 point from the last 6 games from there. But then the chairman, are saying, "Oh, we're ready for it." As a team, I don't think we're ready because we didn't have the experienced players in, as it showed. The lads are good enough, but then to close games off, I don't think they were good enough. It's a bad word saying good enough. I don't think they were ready. Just to close games down. We're conceding too many goals. And the chairman was saying, like, when's the right time? Because, like what you've said, in about 2-3 years' time, it's going to be sort of like 50-50 Northern League teams. So the trapping's not going to be bad. The finance, you're not going to have to put the finance out because you're going to have a lot more local teams and stuff like that.
Definitely.
So that's why he's really, I think, trying to push this next year to try and get us up there. So
that's it. I mean, if it's just one of those things where you could have that success of getting them promoted from the Northern League, and the players are on a hype, on a buzz, and you've seen a kind of team that's gone up, and you look at the league now, I think the top 4 is full of Northern League sides straight away, and you win that league, and it's oyster, isn't it? You can go to the next one, and it's miles ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. But the good thing, what you're saying, is teams are going up, but there hasn't been a Northern League team come down yet. You look at like the relegation, then you're saying about how strong the place is, and that's a good thing. So hopefully, that I think there's 8 of them up there now, or 6, 8. I can't remember off the top of my head. But another 2 go up next year. You're up to 8 to 10, and then in a couple of years' time, you're going to have a 50-50 split. That's just going to be Northern League teams in there. So hopefully, it'll be a lot better for clubs and for players. The players traveling midweek, the traveling midweeks in that league's terrible.
Yeah, I know we had Rashford a few weeks ago, and we kind of said when he was coming through, it was always just kind of the next step from Northern League was kind of if there was kind of clubs looking down, it was Gateshead, and then you kind of had the Hartlepool, Darlaway. Now you've got almost a teams in every division stepping up, so managers are now hungry to try and get to that next level. Players want to get that next level and that bit extra money. It's really good setup now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a lot better. Obviously, like you say, you've got that, and then you've got the next step where you've got Morpeth, you've got South Shields and whatnot. The next step up, and it can only help the area.
Definitely.
Players surely have to have that hunger. When you think, like you said, we go back just a couple of years, and you had like the Northern League, then you had a big step to your Gatesheads, to your Hartlepools and stuff like that. While now you can step up. You got Spenny Moores. You got quite a few local teams who are, you can just take that step through. As long as you're good enough and as long as you work hard, definitely.
Yeah, really good. I mean, the other 2 teams that we picked out, well, myself on that one, was obviously Bishop Bolton sitting top of the order, played 11 on 25 points. But I mean, Chris Hardy, he's come in and he did well at Whitby, so it was quite understanding when he came in kind of mid-season. It would be kind of bringing in players, trying to get things sorted. But now he's got that pre-season. Obviously, with Harry done a scout as well, what he's kind of like in the non-league. He gets the right players in, doesn't he? And obviously, it seems to be sharing the goals. I mean, you look around it, I think it's Louis Johnson on about 5, Fairley on 4, Risborough, Craig Goddard. All the players Sorry about the news. Had to put a penny in the meter
No problem. Yeah,
there.
lost you for a
So yeah,
minute.
so yeah, just saying with Bishop Auckland, like you say, quite a strong start and some good
Yeah.
players in there at the moment, but a good management as well of Chris Hardy, isn't it?
Yeah, there is. They're doing really well. They've had a good start. Obviously, to be fair, I don't know that much about them as much, but you look at it, and I always say you can't really tell anything until you get that first 10 games out of the way. And to hit the top league after 11 games, you've got to be really happy with that. It just shows that they've got it right, and they're going in the right direction. And then you look at like Whitley Bay, and the improvement in their last year must be massive. Because we went there and I think we beat them 6-1 at their place, and it's horrible. That's where I started my senior thing with the reserves and whatnot. And going through, and so I've got a bit of a thing for Whitley Bay. But you knew Nicky Gray going in there would totally get them sorted, and it looks as if he's got them taken over quite well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of lads, like you say, with the Beerwatch TV now sponsoring the show, and a couple of Whitley Bay fans that we talk to, and I watch a lot of the stuff on YouTube, and they've got playing some really good football, but it doesn't seem to be individuals, it seems to be as together as a group, which I think you need in that division, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You need, I mean, you do need it, and I've seen it like what we've got. You get a bit worried, bringing 7 players in, like what happened last year, and you think, because we had a good nucleus, a good group. Got so far, but not quite over the line, and you bring 7 players in. How's it going? And everyone's just, you look at training tonight, and everyone's buzzing off each other. So
I bet, yeah,
it makes a big difference when you see it.
Oh, really good. I mean, any other teams apart from them three that you could come at the end of the season be fighting for that title? You think?
Well, I mean, you're looking down, and we played Newton Aycliffe in the first round of the cup. They'll be there and thereabouts. They're a decent club, decent setup, and again, Wickham as well. Tony's got them sort of like playing for good football. He came in last year and he turned that round massively. So I think they'll be in thereabouts. So you're looking at the top 5. Carlisle City, looking down there. I'm going down. We went across there. We're disappointed getting a point because it was the 85th minute. But to be fair, they give a really tough game. The second half, they were probably slightly the better team in the second half. And what I think it was just disappointment coming off because it was an 85th minute goal. But to get a point over there, I think there'd be a lot of clubs sort of like would be happy with that.
Oh, you would be, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're looking, it could go quite deep this year, I think.
Definitely, really interesting. Like you say, I think once the hard time is the winter, obviously the pitch and stuff to see kind of who was in and around that time, come January. But I mean, you say that's quite close there. But I mean, the Division 2, it's even closer. And I think just going from the results last night, down from first down to 9th, you've got Billingham Town on 28 points, Blythe second 28, Berkeley third 27, Horden 27 fourth, Bedlin fifth 26, Borough Rangers 26 points sitting 6th, Progress 7th on 25. Billingham Sithonia on 24 points on 8th, and even Brand United doing really well this season on 23 points. It's amazing, really, when you look at it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just going to be very tight. It's again, it's one of them leagues. You look at it, from the top. Like Billingham's lost three games already out of the 13. You lose a game and you're dropping down 2 or 3 positions all the time. It's going to be really difficult in there. And especially with that top, everyone wants that top spot because you don't want to go in the playoffs.
Definitely not.
So no matter how much it's fun, I was talking to the lads from Heaton Stand last year when they won it, and it was like, oh, best way to go. This is great. Saying, yeah, but if you'd lost it, it would have been a totally different way.
Yeah, mentally, isn't it? Definitely after all that hard season. 100%.
Season goes down to 1 game, and you're thinking, oh, I just couldn't. Especially the way it was. I think they scored in the 91st minute or something as well to win it. It was something stupid like that. I know it was near the end when they scored the winning goal, and it was like you just can't believe the way it went off over there as well. It was a good atmosphere that.
Really good. Niall, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Again, lots of people watching still live now. Really appreciate your support like we do. We're just trying to get this as many teams in the Northern League to come on and chat with us, and just trying to push the league out there as much as we can, and the other North East clubs as well. So keep subscribing if you can as well. But I think the 4 that I've picked out, for that Division 2 title as 4, kind of obviously starting with Billingham Town. I think obviously because what's happening in the summer, obviously with Gary Pearson as well, I think the club's kind of come together with the players as well. And I mean, look at some of the players out there: Robbie Bird, Jack Pounder, Keith Southern, and obviously James Winter, the goalkeeper that's there, and all played for obviously with Gary Pearson. I think they've all get together, and that spirit is going to keep pushing them on as much as they can throughout the season, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, see, when you saw obviously what happened in the summer and stuff like that, you know, well, words can't describe it, and you just got to know. Obviously, a lot of lads that is actually knew the lad and whatnot, and it was, well, like I say, just words can't describe it. So for them to do what they're doing, and like I say, when we played them in the Vars, the forward line, especially Jack Pounder, he just ran with ragged at times. I have to admit, he looked a quality player. But right from front to back, yeah, you know, we scored 4 and we could have had 6 or 7. But to be fair, they deserved they deserved the game on the night. You know, to be fair for them, you know, they did really well, and they just, to be fair, it was the first team that really went to war. You know, sort of like rather they didn't sit back. There's teams that have come to Wood only and they sit back and you've got to break them down. Billingham Town came and they just went out from the start. And it was an exciting game for the neutral, should I say? But
definitely
not for a coach on the touchline.
Oh, but I mean, the second team we picked out was Blythe Town. I watched them a few weeks ago down at Southern West End, and I mean, they really had a good result against them. But I mean, it's just a good setup. I know Gav Fell involved down there at the minute as well. He was always coming on tonight, but he was actually down London giving a speech somewhere down London, so he is going to be coming on in a couple of weeks. But it's just a very organised side. I think that's what you expect from kind of the management that they've got there as well at the minute. Just very organised, isn't it?
The Army, you know, Blythe, the manager's been through it before, hasn't he? He took them up the first time, and he's taken them from Division 2. He brought them through the Alliance into now. So the job that they've done, and the big thing was to stay in the league last year, which is what they did. They stayed in the league quite well, but up to mid-table, I think. Then, you know, to push on, you know, like you say, Gav Fell's come in to help them out, and they look a sound team. You know, we played them pre-season. And they were very well organised, you know, on their pitch, which was, it's quite a tight pitch there. So, you know, you couldn't really play expansive football. You couldn't play. Plus, the way the pitches were in the summer, they were like rock hard bricks. And you know, but they did really well, you know, and they are well organised, and they've got some good players in there. You know, they're doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, the next one, which we touched on quite earlier, was Berkeley, with obviously Paul Bryson, their top coach, and I think a lot of good young players there, but a couple of players, Alex Francis stuff, playing there as well. That's just really good, like, young side that we used to be hungry, isn't it, and pushing on to see what they can do in the division, which we want to watch as well there.
I think Berkeley have been in and around it for the last couple of years. They've been sort of like in the top half of the league the last couple of years. But like, obviously with Bryce coming in, I think it's, you know, it makes a difference, and then obviously that attracts better players as well. You know, like the players you've mentioned and stuff like that. So you know, it can only help them and only push them on.
Definitely. And the last one for myself is Horden. Like I say, we always used to be a cracking Northern League side. Obviously, what's happened to them, we came back now, and we just seem to get a little bit stronger every season. They had a little bit of a slow start, but again, after the few results that they've had the last couple of weeks, are back up there, and a couple of good players in there, like you say, the likes of Ollie Hodgkiss. They're always going to have a quality like player in himself in the midfield, kind of running the game in there. I think they'll be pushing on kind of towards the end of the season as well. I mean, out of them teams that's chasing for the league, who would kind of be your favourites looking at that early days?
Obviously, the only ones I've really seen is Billingham. You say Billingham have got to be up there, the way they, you know, they played. It's like I said, you know, you've got to look at it, and you know, I know a couple of lads who are in Badletton, and in Badletton, you know, they've had such a good start as well. You know, they've still got the game in hand, which will put them up into that top position. So, you know, as a Northumberland lad, and Northumberland, you know, you would like to see them up there, and like doing it. But I think, you know, Berkeley, Billingham Town, I don't think you can see, you know, much past them for that top spot. So we'll just have to wait and see how it goes, because it's
going to be brilliant watching, isn't it?
Yeah, I was in that league for 3 years with Badletton, and it's a really tight league, really tight. It just takes like that, you know, like you said, it just takes that little run where you lose 2-3 games off the belt, and you just slip down that league, and it's really hard to get out of it.
Definitely. No, I'm back to your own club now, Ashton, and obviously Penrith away on Saturday. Nice travel for you.
Yeah.
kind of after the training session tonight, all confidence going to the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think you've got to be. You've got to put it out there, and you've got to say, right, yeah, going across there 3 points. You've got to be looking to sort of like stamp your authority on the game early on, and just play your football that you want to do. Looking at the table, we've got a chance because there's a few teams in the VAR, so this is hopefully one of our catch-up games. So yes, it's we need to go across there and come back with the 3 points, definitely.
Hopefully. But no, Neil, thank you very much for coming up tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. It's really nice to get a coach on, and like you say, I'll hopefully get some more coaches on, managers, members, board, chairmen. We just want to try and help as many clubs and kind of get the name out there as much as we can. As well. I know we've had since we've done the shows, a lot of invites kind of coming to watch the matches. So once the like you say, the World Cup break comes on, we're going to try and get it out as much as we can and do video vlogs and trying to get the clubs pushed out there as much as we can and get it out there. And hopefully, even if you get 5 or 10 new fans coming along, it'll help the club. It'll put an extra 20, 30 pound at the kitty. It all helps, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's like I see everything that everybody you can get through the turnstiles. It just helps the clubs. Like you see the crowds, and you see now with Newcastle up there doing well. If it was like last week, we're drawn at home, but Newcastle are at home and Blythe Spartans are at home, so it takes. But when Newcastle are away, you can see that extra 50, 60 people come in through the turnstiles, and you can tell the difference now. Well, last couple of years, people lost interest up there and people weren't going. Well, now you can see the difference. There's definitely a drop off in the attendances when Newcastle are at home.
Oh, definitely. And just again, a massive thank you to our sponsor, Beerwatch TV, as well. If you haven't get your across there, it's all Whitley Beer Highlights, who's proudly sponsoring the show now as well. And Sunday, 7:45, we've got Ian Watson on, Gateshead assistant manager, coming out to chat about his kind of career and also the role he's got at Gateshead at the moment. So that'll be really interesting to see how the season's going to pan out for them as well. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Lots still watching live now, which is incredible. 10 to 10 on a Thursday night. So honestly, thank you all so much for watching. Like I say, if you're new to the show, please subscribe, get the word out there as much as you can. We just want to help as much as we can and push the North East scene as well. But everyone, thank you for watching, Neil. Thank you very much for coming on the show as well.
Thank you for having us on. Really enjoyed it.
Excellent, thank you. And best luck for Saturday in the FA Cup as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks.